First off, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakah Kodash, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to the Akim out there pushing this word in all sincerity and all truth, and as always, peace and blessings to the elect of Israel. This lesson is gonna be my addition to the conversation, about camp ministry or street ministry, that's been going on in the body, starting with the apostles on down to the elders and different brothers in the GMS camps. Right, brothers have been doing, their videos going into the topic, because you have always had men who opposed, the idea of forming camps, who opposed the idea of street ministry, and these men it's clear that these men despise order. That's the only thing that's these men are despising. They don't like the fact that they have to come under a certain order. They don't like the fact that they have to follow instruction, right? And they pretty much are self-willed, right? And we're just gonna get that before we jump into the lesson, right? This is 2 Peter 2, right? And I'll start at verse 10, right? It says, "But chiefly them that walk after the flesh in the lust of uncleanness and despise government," right? Let's look up that word government, see if we can get any meat from it. All right, so these men despise government, right? The Greek word here, let's pronounce it.
Strong's G 2963, kuriates, kuriates.
Right, so it means dominion, power, or lordship, right? Mastery, i.e. concretely and collectively, rulers, dominion, government, right? So they resist any form of rulership, which the scriptures clearly tell you that you have some men who will have the rule over you, right? Let's get that. Hebrews chapter 13 verse 17, right? Hebrews chapter 13 verse 17, obey them that have the rule over you, right? So it shows you that men will govern you in this truth, There's an order that's set up, starting with the apostles, then to the elders, then to the camp leaders on down, right? Through the Spirit of the Lord, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, there's an order set up in this truth, right? So it says, obey them that have the rule over you. So some men will have the rule over others, And it says to submit yourselves to them. For they watch for your souls as they that must give account, that they may do it with joy and not with grief, for that is unprofitable unto you, right? But these men who are opposing the idea of camps, right, it says they despise government. So we go back to 2 Peter 2 and 10. It says, but chiefly them that walk after the flesh, and these men are carnal, These men are not coming from the scripture. These men are speaking based on their emotions, Hell, you even have women, the Ella Manata Zakba did a video, recently talking about, many of these sisters, so-called sisters, are wicked, because there's this princess of Judah, or whatever she want to call herself, come on his comment board, talking about if the brothers do anything apart from preaching, and doing videos, right? And then go into that that we say that if you're not part of a camp, then that's going off, right? Matter of fact, if you're a man of the Lord, right, you're gonna teach, not to say that all men are prophets, right, but you're going to contribute to the ministry, right? As the elder Manasa Zakba asked in the video, what have you contributed to the ministry, If you're not a prophet, if you're a woman and you're not a prophet, what have you contributed to the ministry? Do you have a husband that's in this truth, right? Are you serving him? Right? And if you don't have a husband in this truth, is there anything that you have done for the ministry, Anything. Not talking about preaching, because women are not supposed to be out there preaching, And if there are men who are not prophets, what have you done? Right? Are you disagreeing with the doctrine? Right? Have you done anything to help the brothers out there? Nothing, Right? The scripture say, he that receiveth a prophet in a prophet's name shall receive a prophet's reward, Right? So it says, walk in the lust after the lust of their uncleanness, Salakia, and despise government. Presumptuous are they, self-willed, right? They are not afraid to speak evil of dignities, right? And believe it or not, the apostles and elders are dignitaries, and are dignities in this truth, right? But these men are self-willed. Let's look up that word self-willed and see what it means.
Strong's G 829. Authades. Authades.
Self-pleasing, yo. Self-willed, right? And if you look up the dictionary meaning of that, see if we can get it. See if we can look that up. Self-willed, obstinately, meaning stubborn, doing what one wants in spite of the wishes or orders of others, yo. Right? Contrary, perverse, uncooperative, meaning you don't want to work together, yo. Wayward, headstrong, stubborn. Right? That's why you don't want to be a part of camp, so because you don't want to come under any order, yo. You just want to go out there and do your own thing. That's it. That's all, yo. Right? No, you don't want to be held accountable. Right? So it says they are self-willed. They are not afraid to speak evil of dignitaries, whereas angels, which are greater in might and power, bring not railing accusation against them before the Lord. But these, as natural brute beasts, and that's all they are, natural brute beasts, made to be taken and destroyed, speak evil of the things that they understand not, and shall utterly perish in their own corruption, and shall receive the reward of unrighteousness as they counted pleasure to riot in the daytime. Spots they are, and blemishes, right? Sporting themselves with their own deceivings while they feast with you, having eyes full of adultery, and that cannot cease from sin, beguiling unstable souls, and heart they have exercised with covetous practices, cursed children, yo, right? Which have forgotten the right way and are gone astray, following the way of Balaam, the son of Bezor, or Bozor, who loved the wages of unrighteousness, right? But was rebuked for his iniquity. The dumb are speaking with man's voice, forbid the madness of the prophet. They are wells without water, meaning they have no knowledge, yo. Right? Water is likened unto knowledge, yo. Or this knowledge is better said, this knowledge is likened unto water. Right? Yahushua said, he that believeth in me, as the scripture said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. So they are wells without water, men without understanding, yo. Clothes that are carried with a tempest, to whom the mist of darkness is reserved forever. Right? So let's just get into the topic of the lesson. Right? First we're going to deal with the idea of a camp. Right, the idea of a company of prophets, yo. This is 1 Samuel chapter 10 verse 5. After that thou shalt come. This is speaking to Saul, you know, Samuel speaking to Saul, right, before he was officially crowned king. Right, it says, and after that thou shalt come to the hill of the Most High, where is the garrison of the Philistines. And it shall come to pass, when thou art come thither to the city, thou shalt meet a company of prophets, right, coming down from the high place with a psaltery and a tambrette and a pipe and a harp before them, and they shall prophesy. Right? That's a company of prophets. Another name for that is what? Is a camp, yo. So when you go there and you see men in the highways and the byways teaching this truth, that's a company of prophets, yo. A company of prophets prophesying, yo. Right? So how can you say that, you know, there is no precedent for the Lord forming camps, yo? There have always been companies of prophets, yo, going out there and teaching. And it says, and the Spirit of the Lord will come upon thee, and thou shalt prophesy with them, and shall be turned into another man. Is this not what happened to each brother that comes into the truth, yo? That's exactly what happened to us, yo. Whether we see them physically on the highways and the byways, or whether we watch YouTube videos that have been put up with them on the highways and the byways, we see these men. We see these companies of prophets, and the Spirit of the Lord comes upon us, or came upon us, and we prophesied with them, right? Meaning we join the camps, and we turn into another man, meaning we put off the old man, and we are renewed in the spirit of our mind, and put on a new man, right? Meaning we start to walk the way of the gospel, yo, right? We start to come back to our true nationality, our true heritage, right? And we change our filthy ways, yo, right? So without them being on the highways and the byways, without that company of prophets out there prophesying, how would we have heard? How would the Spirit of the Lord have come upon us, yo, that we should prophesy along with them and be turned into another man, yo? Right? It's plain and simple, yo. This is Isaiah chapter 8, and I'll start at verse there's so much nice things here, but let's start verse 13. The point It's all the way down in verse 18, but you know, let's read for edification's sake. Isaiah 8 and 13. Sanctify the Lord Yahweh of hosts himself. Let him be your fear, and let him be your dread. And a lot of these men don't fear the Lord, yo. Because if you fear the Lord, you would go out and you would teach, yo. Right? You wouldn't want to be that servant that got his talent and hid it, yo. Knowing that you have an austere master, yo. Right? The other two servants feared their master, feared their austere master. So they went out and they traded talents and they got more, yo. But these men who refuse to go out on the highways and the byways, refuse to join a camp, which you don't even have to join a camp, yo. You can go out there by yourself and you can prophesy, yo. Right? We're not advocating for anybody joining GMS. Matter of fact, the apostles gave the decree several weeks back, no new members in GMS, yo. So we're not telling you to come join GMS. You can go out there by yourself, right? You can get a 12 tribe sign, you can get a garment, right? You go out there and you prophesy. If so be that the Lord blesses you with fruit, you get more men that and join, and you become a camp unto yourself, yo. So long as you're teaching the correct doctrine, yo. You don't have to join any specific camp, but you have to go out there and teach. As long as you call yourself a prophet, as long as the Lord give you that spirit and that knowledge, yo. Right? And he shall be for a sanctuary, right? But for a stone of stumbling, for a rock of offense to both the houses of Israel, and for a gin and for a snare to the inhabitants of Jerusalem. And many among them shall stumble and fall and be broken and be snared and be taken. Right? You have a lot of brothers, well, let's say niggers, you have a lot of niggers don't understand this truth, yo. They have stumbled, they have fallen, they were broken, snared, and taken, yo. Bind up the testimony, seal the law among my disciples. That the word disciple mean a follower of instructions, yo. How can you be a follower of instructions if there are no men to give you those instructions, yo? And I will wait upon the Lord that hideth his face from the house of Jacob, and I will look for him. Behold, I and the children whom the Lord hath given me are for signs and wonders in Israel from the Lord of hosts which dwelleth in Zion. Let's look up that word sign. The word sign is from the Hebrew awath. It means a sign, a signal, a distinguishing mark, a banner, right? An omen, a warning, a token, an ensign, a standard, a miracle, a proof. How can these things be a signal? How can you have a banner? How can you have an ensign, a standard that is not put out in the public, yo? There is no way something can be a signal or a banner or an ensign or a standard and not be out in the public, yo. Right? It says, in the sense of appearing, so meaning it's something that you have to see, a signal, literally or figuratively, a banner, a beacon. Right? A beacon is a beam of light, right, that guides you, yo. For example, you have the lighthouse, right? The lighthouse acts as a beacon for sailors to know when they've hit a certain port, yo. Right? If they're out there in the dark and there's a storm or something, they can know that, okay, the port is that way. Right? So the beacon tells you what way to go. As the scripture say, yo, you shall see your teachers and they shall say, this is the way, walk ye in it. Right? So how can we be a beacon if we just sit down on our couch having conversations in the barbershop? Right? Talking, being indoors, yo. That's not a beacon, yo. That's not a beacon. Right? Matter of fact, there's a precept that came to my mind. Light of the world. Right? We are the light of the world, yo. This is Matthew 5 and verse 14. It says, ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Right? So when it says that you put your candle on a candlestick, that it giveth light unto all them that are in the house, it's talking about the house of Israel, yo. And this light is talking about the light, is talking about this truth, this knowledge, this understanding, yo. The gospel. You don't get the knowledge and you keep it to yourself and you just talk about it. You're a comment board warrior, pretty much. Right? What are you doing to further the ministry, yo? What are you doing to further the gospel? Let your light so shine before men. How will you do that if you're not in the highways and the byways, yo? If you're not in the public eye? Right? Let's get back to Isaiah 8 we're gonna look up wonders now. The Hebrew word here is mawapath, a wonder, a sign, a portent, a wonder as a special display of God's power, a sign, a token of future event, right? In the sense of conspicuousness, clearly visible, right? How can you be clearly visible if you're not out there, yo? If you're not on the highways and the byways, in the public arena, in the public view, how can you be clearly visible, attracting notice or attention, right? A token, an omen, a miracle, a sign, a wonder. That how will people wonder at you if you're not out there preaching, yo? Doesn't make any sense, right? Let's go to Timothy, right? This is 2 Timothy 4 and verse 5. But watch thou in all things, endure afflictions, right? Matter of fact, let's start from verse 1. The apostles brought it out, the apostle Elatar, right? I charge thee before Yahweh and the Lord Yahushua HaMashiach, who shall judge the quick and the dead at the appearance of his coming, Salakia, at his appearance and his kingdom. Preach the word, right? Meaning proclaim publicly. Be instant in season, out of season, reprove, rebuke, exhort with all long suffering and doctrine. For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lust they shall heap to themselves teachers having itching ears, and they shall turn away their ears from the truth and be turned to fables. Like being out in the highways and the byways is not necessary. That's a fable, yo. But watch thou in all things, endure affliction, do the work of an evangelist. An evangelist is a person who converts others to the Christian faith, especially by public preaching, right? Especially by public preaching, right? Make full proof of thy ministry. How do you make full proof of your ministry, yo? How do you make proof of something? You provide evidence. How do you provide evidence of your ministry? You go out there and you be seen, yo, right? You go out there and you be present and you teach this word, yo. You preach this word. You proclaim publicly this word, right? You be clearly visible. You make full proof of your ministry. That's plain and to the point, yo, right? The word evangelist is from Evangelistas. Let him pronounce it.
Strong's G 2099. Evangelistes.
Right. A bringer of good tidings, an evangelist, a name given to the New Testament heralds of salvation to Yahushua, who were not apostles. Right, and the apostle Tara went into the word herald, right? An official employed to oversee state ceremonial precedents and the use of armorial bearings, and historically, which this is what we're talking about now, to make proclamations, to carry official messages, to oversee tournaments. That's what we do, yo. We make proclamations, yo. Right? We're preachers. Right? And the word proof, or full proof, right, is from the Greek. Let me just play it here.
Strong's G 4135. Pleiraphoreo.
To bear or bring fruit, or bring full, to make full, to cause a thing to be shown to be full, to fulfill the ministry in every part, to carry to the end, accomplish things that have been accomplished, to fill one with any thought, conviction, or inclination, to make one certain, to persuade, to convince one, right? So pretty much, right, to provide evidence, yo. Go out there and show it, yo. Romans chapter 10 and verse, let me start from verse 13. For whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. How shall they call upon him whom they have not believed? And how shall they believe in him whom they have not heard? And how shall they hear without a preacher? And how shall they preach except they be sent? As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of them that preach the gospel of peace and bring glad tidings of good things. Let's look up a word here. All right, this is preach. And the Hebrew word is caruso, which the apostle, Tara went into, yo, to be a herald, right? And we know that word herald is synonymous with the word prophet, yo. But this is what I wanted to go into, yo, the Strong's definition. It says to herald as a public crier, right? Public crier, especially the divine truth, the gospel. Preacher, proclaim, publish. The word publish means to prepare an issue. A book, a piece of manuscript. It's a point that says to prepare and make it known. Alright, here we go. Middle English in the sense to make generally known, from the stem of Old French populaire, from Latin publicare, to make public, right? So you publish something, you make it public, yo, right? Read this down here. It says to proclaim, to publish, proclaim openly something which has been done, right? Of the public proclamation of the gospel and matters pertaining to it, made by Yahushua, John the Baptist, by the apostles and other Christian teachers, yo. Public proclamation of the gospel, plain, simple, to the point, right? There has to be public proclaimers of the gospel, right? It's a tongue twister. Isaiah 58:1, cry aloud, spare not, and lift up thy voice like a trumpet. Shew my people their transgression, and the house of Jacob their sins. You gonna cry aloud on your couch, right? You gonna cry aloud in the barbershop. You gonna cry aloud, you know, among your co-workers. That's what it means. No, yo, right? It means you go out in the highways and the byways, yo, as the scripture says, Matthew chapter 22 verse 7, yo. Cry aloud, spare not. You cry aloud in the open spaces, yo, right? Lift up thy voice like a trumpet, right? Go out there, prophesy, be a herald, be a sign, a wonder, and shew my people their transgression, and the house of Jacob their sins. All right, we're going to wrap up on this. Isaiah chapter 62 verse 6, I have sent watchmen upon thy walls, O Jerusalem. The walls are outside, yo. It's not talking about the walls inside your house, right? We shall never hold their peace day nor night, meaning that once you know this truth, you got to teach it, yo. Ye that make mention of the Lord, keep not silence, and give him no rest till he establish, till he make Jerusalem a praise in all the earth. That's pretty much what I wanted to bring out. You know, hopefully this lesson was edifying to the elect. Again, Kalal Yahweh Hashem Yahushai B'Hashem Rakah Kodesh for giving me the spirit to this lesson. Yahweh Hashem Yahushai B'Hashem Rakah Kodesh. Barak Kal Akyam Tazadakyam was Aquanium. Shalom.